So I guess this video is about whether you should start jiu-jitsu when you're in your 30s. I'm getting a lot of questions from some of my friends who are in their 30s now, because I am as well. I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm 35 this year. So I've get a lot of friends asking me whether they should start jiu-jitsu because they're in their 30s and they feel like they're too late, or they missed a train, or they missed it. Like they can't do jiu-jitsu anymore because they're just too old for it, and they feel like it's for young people. And I guess this video is to address that, whether you're actually too old to train jiu-jitsu when you're in your 30s. Just to save you time, if you are asking this question, my answer to that question is no, you're not too old. 30 is a good time to start jiu-jitsu. And to be honest, there isn't really a bad time to start jiu-jitsu. I mean, there are many reasons why you should start jiu-jitsu as early as possible, but I feel like 30 isn't too old. And like I said before, there is no bad time to start jiu-jitsu. There is no age saying that you're too old to start jiu-jitsu. But in saying that, let's just go through the cons on why some people will feel that jiu-jitsu isn't something they should do when they're, after 30. So obviously the biggest one is injuries. If you are thinking that you'll get hurt a lot in jiu-jitsu, at the end of the day, jiu-jitsu is still a combat sport. It is a martial art. So injuries are prone in jiu-jitsu and in martial arts to begin with. So you can't really get away with being injury-free in anything really, especially martial arts. I mean, you can cross the road and sprain your ankle. You can be going for a run and you could, trip over and hurt yourself. Doing anything, there is going to be an injury factor. It just depends how you manage it and how you mitigate these injuries and how you recover from it. Recovery is going to be a very big thing in jiu-jitsu. Especially when you first started training, you're going to feel like everything is going to hurt and it feels like you're going to die. It's going to feel like after one day of training, you can't be doing anything for like a whole week. All the muscles that you've been using is going to feel like shit, and you can't walk, you can't do anything without anything hurting. Because putting it simply, when you train jiu-jitsu, you're using a lot of muscles that you don't normally use on a daily basis. Jiu-jitsu is like anything. You have to invest time into it to actually get good at it. There's no way to actually cheat the system. You can't be someone who spends minimal time in it and actually get good at it. If you're someone who can't invest a lot of time in it, it will show on the mat. And if you're someone who can't spend that much time or invest that much time into jiu-jitsu, you actually won't feel motivated to train more. Jiu-jitsu is very physically demanding. So if you're someone who's never been sporty or particularly athletic, you are going to have a hard time doing jiu-jitsu. You're going to be facing people who are younger, who are bigger, who are more flexible, who are just stronger or more athletic than you. If you're someone who gets frustrated really easily and very quickly, you're actually going to have a very hard time on the mat. Also, if you're someone who doesn't like to be wrong and doesn't like challenging things and a little bit egotistical, you probably don't know that you are, but if you are one of those people and you're self-aware, jiu-jitsu is going to humble you and you're going to be grounded. You're going to come across someone who is probably smaller than you or even younger than you, and they're going to be smashing you. And if you're someone who doesn't like that kind of challenge and will feel humiliated, jiu-jitsu is going to cause a lot of problem for you. So let's just quickly go through the pros of jiu-jitsu. I'm sure there's a lot more to this, but this is just going to be a short list. If I have missed any, leave it in the comments below. Starting something like jiu-jitsu in your 30s is very different when you're doing something in your 20s. I feel like when I'm in my 30s and I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I have a much more mature mindset when I'm learning something new. You know how to ask questions to get the most out of it, and you know how to retain the information. Now that I'm in my 30s, when I'm learning something new, I already know how to learn, if that makes sense. Like, I don't need to feel like I need to cram things to retain information. I can remember when I was in my 20s, I still need to learn how to learn, which was a really weird thing. I'll still be cramming things for exams, whereas in my 30s, I know how to learn already, so I know how to retain the information. And if anything, I feel like learning in my 30s is actually much faster, and I can get through this really steep learning curve in jiu-jitsu much faster if I was in my 20s. If you feel a bit flat in your career and you need something to have an achievement, I reckon jiu-jitsu is the best thing for it, or it's perfect for that. There is such a steep learning curve in jiu-jitsu that it's not even funny. A lot of people drop out from it. I feel like once you get past that learning curve, it's such an achievement and you can be really proud of yourself. This may come as a surprise, but jiu-jitsu is actually not athletically demanding. Jiu-jitsu is one of those weird sports or combat sports that attracts a lot of weird people. I mean, you have someone like Mikey Musumeci who is a complete nerd, but he is such a beast on the mat. In every jiu-jitsu gym, you'll probably find the overweight person, the young kid, or the really small girl, or the old man who is double your age. It doesn't matter whatever it is, they're all monsters when they're rolling. So really, this just goes to show that you don't need to be in any particular form or any particular time in your life. You can start jiu-jitsu at any time with any physicality. You'll have a good time. So it shouldn't really be a factor whether you should start jiu-jitsu or not. And just because jiu-jitsu isn't athletically demanding, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be reaping any physical benefits from it. Doing jiu-jitsu will make you stronger, that's all, mentally and physically. Jiu-jitsu is going to push your mental toughness to a whole new boundary. You're going to be forced to be in really uncomfortable places and you might even start panicking. And from there, you have to figure out how to get out of it. You're forced to be calm in a panic situation. The amount of mental capacity you need to do jiu-jitsu is crazy. Honestly, it's like solving a puzzle or a Rubik's Cube that is changing every second. And whatever you're trying to do, you gotta do it quick, because if you don't, it will change even faster. And of course, the physical benefits is something that you will get from doing jiu-jitsu. You're going to be forced to bench press someone who is, 50% heavier than you, having someone who is actually resisting and pulling back while you're pushing, or pushing when you're pulling. All this will make you physically stronger. You're going to have someone who is lying on top of your chest and you can't breathe. And you're going to be forced to somehow get a breath of air. And of course, there's lots of health benefits from doing jiu-jitsu, like it will increase your bone density and all that stuff. Jiu-jitsu is also a good form of cardio. You'll build a lot of random muscle that will actually help you as you age. And by just being on a mat, you will build some muscles and mobility. And of course, I'm not a doctor or anything in the medical field, so this is just something that I've read online and what people have told me. Also, jiu-jitsu is a really good ego check. You can't be Mr. Know-It-All on the mats. You have to be humble, and you have to be able to accept failure and accept the fact that someone that is half your age, half your size, who could be a complete monster and will be teaching you a lot of things, because they can potentially kill you on the mats. At a jiu-jitsu gym, you have to be open-minded, and you have to be able to accept the fact that you are no longer an expert in anything outside of this mat, and you're here to learn. So if you're someone who thinks that you can go on a mat and actually be teaching people some of your life experiences, really think again, because a lot of these people who's been training jiu-jitsu for a very long time has a lot to teach you. Like I said, at the end of the day, jiu-jitsu is a martial art, and martial art is a skill that you will have for the rest of your life. And jiu-jitsu is just one of those very few martial arts where you can train for a long time without actually getting kicked in the mouth. Of course, you need to be careful who you train with, but unlike Muay Thai or kickboxing, where you can be potentially kicked in the face every single day. So in jiu-jitsu, you actually get all the challenges and everything that comes with learning a martial art without all the physical damages that you can potentially get from other striking martial arts. But of course, you still need to be careful. So if you're someone who is on a fence on whether you should start jiu-jitsu, or you think that starting jiu-jitsu in your 30s is too late, I hope this actually helps you and gets you over the fence to actually start training. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.